I want to ask you something, and I need you to take it seriously. Not as a thought experiment, not as a philosophical puzzle, as the most personally confronting question you have ever been asked. If you had to live your life again, every single moment of it, every joy and every humiliation, every relationship that built you and everyone that broke you, every ordinary Tuesday and every devastating loss, every choice you are proud of and every one you have spent years trying to forget, exactly as it happened, forever, in an eternal loop. Could you say yes? Friedrich Nietzsche called this the eternal recurrence, and he considered it the heaviest thought a human mind could hold. Nietzsche first wrote about the eternal recurrence in 1882. In a single paragraph, no build-up, no lengthy explanation, just a demon appearing in your loneliest moment and whispering, "This life as you now live it and have lived it, you will have to live once more and innumerable times more. Every pain, every pleasure, every thought, every sigh, everything unutterably small or great in your life will return to you, all in the same succession and sequence, even this moment and this one." Nietzsche then asks, what would this thought do to you? Would it crush you? Would you throw yourself to the ground and curse the demon who said it? Or would you answer differently? Would you say, "You are a god, and I have never heard anything more divine"? Now, before we go further, let us be honest about what Nietzsche was not saying. He was not making a claim about physics. He was not seriously arguing that time is literally circular. He was not predicting a cosmological loop that science would one day confirm. The eternal recurrence is not a theory about how the universe works. It is a test. The most demanding psychological test ever devised. Because here is what it is actually asking. Are you living in a way that you would choose again, if choosing again were the only option? Not a better version, not a corrected version, not the life you are planning to start living after this job, this relationship, this phase is over. This one. Exactly this one. Would you choose it again? To understand why this question is so devastating, you need to understand where Nietzsche was when he wrote it. He was 37 years old. He was almost completely blind, reading and writing in short bursts before the pain became unbearable. He suffered from migraines so severe they left him bedridden for days at a time. He had resigned from his university position because his health would not allow him to continue. He had almost no readers, almost no friends, almost no money. He was alone in a boarding house in the Swiss Alps when the idea came to him. Walking by a lake. A rock, a specific rock near Silva Plana that he later described as the place where the heaviest thought in human history arrived. And he sat with it. This man, in pain, in poverty, in isolation, asked himself whether he would choose this life again. Every migraine, every failed book, every unanswered letter, every lonely winter. And his answer, worked out across years of writing, was yes. Not because the suffering was good, but because the alternative, A life lived in avoidance of suffering, a life shrunk down to what is safe and comfortable and guaranteed, was worse. This is where Nietzsche connects the eternal recurrence to his concept of Amor Fati, love of fate. Not acceptance, not resignation, not making peace with what happened. Love. He wrote, "My formula for greatness in a human being is Amor Fati." That one wants nothing to be different, not forward, not backward, not in all eternity, not merely to bear what is necessary, but to love it. This is not passive. This is not lying down in front of whatever life throws at you and calling it acceptance. It is the active, deliberate, almost violent choice to want your life exactly as it is, including the parts that are trying to break you. Because the parts that are trying to break you are also the parts that are making you. And a life without them would not be your life. It would be someone else's. Here is the practical weight of the eternal recurrence, applied to your life right now. Think about the thing you are tolerating, the job that is slowly killing your sense of self, the relationship you have stayed in past the point of honesty, the version of yourself you are performing for other people, the dream you have been postponing for so long it has stopped feeling like a dream and started feeling like a fantasy. Now ask, would you choose this again? Not would you choose it once, forever. If the answer is no, Nietzsche's question tells you everything you need to know about what has to change. And if the answer is yes, then you are already living closer to the truth than most people ever manage. There is one more dimension to this idea that almost nobody talks about. Nietzsche believed that the person who could genuinely say yes to the eternal recurrence, who could look at their life in its entirety, including its darkest chapters, and want it again, was the closest thing to the Übermensch he had ever described. Not because they had a perfect life, not because they had avoided suffering, but because they had created enough meaning from their suffering that the suffering itself became worth repeating. That is the standard. Not happiness, not success, not comfort. A life so genuinely yours, so built from your actual values, your actual choices, your actual risks, that you would not trade it for any other, even if you could. Nietzsche died in 1900. The last 11 years of his life were spent in madness. He never knew that his books would eventually be read by millions. He never knew that the idea that came to him by a lake in the Swiss Alps, on a walk taken by a sick, broke, almost blind philosopher with almost no one left who cared, would become one of the most discussed ideas in the history of human thought. He just wrote it down and kept going, which is perhaps the most Nietzschean thing about him. He lived as though the eternal recurrence were true, as though every page he wrote would be written again. Every idea, every lonely winter, every migraine, every unanswered letter. And he chose it anyway. So the question he leaves you with is the same one he left himself, the one that has no comfortable answer. Would you live your life again, exactly as it was, forever? And if not, what are you going to do about it? This is Philochemy. We will see you in the next one.